It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Well, hello there. It's Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor. And boy, oh boy, am I happy to be back with you for another fascinating episode of Trading Stocks Made Easy. Hey, you know how much I value the time that we have together. And today we have an absolutely splendid show. Now, I really want to warn you here. We're going to talk a little bit advanced options here. So for those of you who have not progressed to the stage where you understand option buying and selling and spreads and the spreads we use as traders with the most frequency, be patient. But I have in the studio with me three people who are excited to be here. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. And we're going to hop right into advanced trading here with all of them. Hey, Brian, you want to tell everybody who you are?
Hi, I'm Brian Bolomo, and I've been a student of The Wealthy Investor for about a year now. Live in Los Angeles, actor, director, used to be an artistic director of a small theater, and just delighted to be here.
Well, and this is your first appearance on the show, right?
My very first.
All right. Well, congratulations. Are you nervous?
I am terrified.
I'll go easy on you. Hey, look who's next to you. This is...
Hi, this is Rudy Solis III.
Yes.
I'm same actor, writer here in Hollywood. Originally from San Francisco. Now I've been part of the program we're heading towards the 2-year mark, Tyrone.
Uh-oh.
We're at about the 1.5 mark now.
Making history. I love
Making history. We're going. Absolutely.
Right. Well, thanks for being here, Rudy.
Thank you.
And this woman is quickly becoming a co-host of the Trading Stocks Made Easy. It's Lindsay.
Hello, it's Lindsay Lena here. I'm glad to be back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a voiceover actress here in LA. And I'm glad to be back.
And I want to be clear about this because a lot of people write in and they say, oh, there are all these artists on your show. Well, I happen to teach in the two major markets like New York and LA, where most of the creative people are. If you're non-creative, you can still come in and learn how to trade. But that's why you hear that so much on the show. Okay, I want to dive right in because today we're going to talk about, all of you guys are covered call writers, right?
Yes.
You know what, before I get into advanced options, let's just talk about, Brian, how did you find your way to the program, actually?
One of your actually recurring podcast members, Carrie Keranen, was a member of the theater that I worked at, and she introduced a whole group of us to this work, and then I found out about the podcast. I essentially downloaded over a 2-week period through, and I just binged all of them.
You binged, baby.
And then I went into the online course for about a month, then heard about the in-person class and came to that. So it was a quick progression of about 6 months. And then just real quickly, not to segue too much, I had known about options 20 years ago. I used to do some commodities trading, and it was very early for me in my life. I made some big money and then made some big mistakes. And so I walked away from that kind of stuff. And I never really thought that kind of work was possible for me again. So when I heard about it, I was a little skeptical, but then I started listening to the podcast and slowly just started to digest back that this was really a real thing. And so that's how I arrived.
Wow. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks.
Tracking your journey is really important because sometimes people don't believe that you guys are actually real people.
Oh, very real.
Let's get into that. Lindsay, how did you find your way to the program?
I come to the studio for voiceover that you record this podcast at.
Right.
And we bumped into each other. And that's how I first heard about it was, from people here. But I did the same binge watching that Brian did. I did the online thing for a while and binge watched all the videos and listened to the podcast multiple times and then signed up for the live classes, which is really the way to go for sure.
Now, unlike Brian, you didn't have any trading experience at all. What did you actually know about the stock market?
Nothing.
Okay.
I didn't even know. I'll be honest, moment of truth here. Your first live Bring a Friend that I went to, and you said, such and such a stock is in the Dow. And I wrote down, look up which stocks are in the Dow. What is I didn't even know how many stocks were in the Dow or which ones were or, things like a basic, very, very basic information.
And now you make money every single month.
every week.
Right, and I know every Money Making Mondays, but I don't ask. We don't talk about specific figures because people will track you down and try to borrow money from you. That's basically what it comes down to.
Right.
But we were on a group coaching call, and you said I missed my target by $500 less. But Tyrone, what went wrong? I was like, you made $500 less than what you expected. Like, come on, you're doing well.
We get used to expecting to hit our income target, and then the month that we don't, we're like, what
is going wrong here?
What happened?
I'm going to put my money back in mutual funds.
Right. Or just in the bank.
Just in the bank where it does
collect
nothing.
that 1.1% a year in the bank.
Now, Rudy, I think it took a time for you to actually show up, right?
Well,
Because you were living in San Francisco or something.
No. I was already here, but my story is completely different. I was in acting class with Randy Hernandez, another veteran of this podcast.
Yes.
We were in class together, and we were working on a project together at my house, and I just started asking, I go, what do you do besides acting? Like, he gave off the impression that he didn't have a job. And I was like, what do you do? And he goes, I go, is it just acting? He goes, oh, no. And I was like, well, are you doing something illegal? Like, let's just be honest here. What are you doing? And then he said, oh, well, I'm an investor. I'm like, you're an investor? Like, stock market? Yeah. And I'm like, and I knew a little bit. I was like, S&P 500 and Dow Jones 30, like that kind of stuff. And he goes, well, yeah. And I'm, well, okay. And then he goes, yeah, you should come to this class if you're really interested. And he brought me to class, and Tyrone was nice enough to let me sit in on a non-bring-a-friend day. That's not normal, audience. And we sat there, and because it wasn't a normal class where on a typical Bring a Friend Day, we have the hour that you get to kind of roll out the program to us.
Yes.
I didn't have that. I was just sitting there going, okay, I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And Tyrone was really patient because you kept coming by going, hey, guys, just hang on. I'll come talk to you at the break. Just hang on.
You came with your wife.
I did.
Who's gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You came with and I'm watching you guys from the stage, and I'm thinking, I think I got the husband. I'm not sure if I got the wife.
We understood the gist of it, like the gist of the covered call. We were like, okay, so if we just go into this contract, they're just going to give us guaranteed money the next day. And like that was all we understood. We're like, that sounds insane,
right?
But we kind of like it.
Right.
It makes sense from a very, very like basic level. And that was how I got introduced. And then I signed up the following month at Bring a Friend.
Yes, that's right. That's what it was. No, I remember that.
Yeah, because I think it was November. We didn't have class in December. January was Bring a Friend, and that's when I joined the program.
What do you guys like most about the live classes? Is it that you get to sit down and reason out trades with, when we break up into teams and we're, trading $100,000 or whatever it is? What do you like most about the live classes?
There's accountability in setting up your trades, and you can really learn a lot from other people. When I'm at home doing it by myself and I don't have anybody to bounce things off of, it's a lot harder because you kind of can talk yourself in circles and talk yourself out of something good. But at class, we get to practice working with others, and you really, it's like a hive mind. You can really fine-tune the trade and make sure you're not doing anything crazy or too risky. And it kind of just, there's that accountability to keep you steady and hit that target.
Brian, do you find helping with reason trades out with other people helps?
Completely. I think one of the biggest challenges that come with this kind of work is that the options are endless. Sorry for the pun.
Right, the choices of trades.
The choices, the possibilities,
Yes.
the number of different strike prices that exist. And what's really great about the in-person classes is the focused work toward a specific result. And because you're hearing different points of view from lots of different people, and then you will, summarize and give your perspective on it, you start to narrow and eliminate all of the extraneous possibilities. So then when you are on your own and you're thinking about a trade, the analysis that you go through is just so much sharper. And that was really, for me, the difference between, for example, doing the online course to the in-person course. I had you could look at 15 different stocks. You could look at 15 different, times to trade. And all of a sudden now you're looking at a smaller subset and you're looking at very particular strikes and you're hearing from everyone else. And that was just, for me, the click.
Rudy, is there an advantage to showing up live for you?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with both of the sentiments here, but I think also the advantage that I really appreciate is the fact that we're often using stocks exactly where they were on Friday at
Yes.
1 o'clock. So
Yes.
we are going up to the minute of where a stock was, and then also this is also the chance for you to address where the market's been, what's happened in the last 30 days, why is this occurring, how do we use that to our advantage. Now I'm going to give you an opportunity based on what the market's done in 30 days, based on where the stock is right now. What can you do to reach this goal that's on the board? And I appreciate that lead in, and then everything they said, absolutely. Everything Lindsay and Brian said about working with the group, but I love the fact that we're going to sit there and talk about what has happened, how can we use that to our advantage, and let's take this real world scenario that's occurring right now in the market and let's use that as a way to generate income on Monday.
Yes.
And
And
that's the part I
You
love.
all know, Brian was saying before we actually came in the studio, that some of the stuff that we're doing, selling in and out of the money calls and hedging in the ways that we hedge, there's some complexity to it, right? And what I've always tried to do as a teacher is to make it as simple to understand as possible so you go home and you make money, right? And you raise your hand if you've made money this week or this month, right? So all three hands go up, myself included, right? Okay, so before we get into options, let's talk about stocks. I find a lot of people as covered call writers forget, if you've ever written a call, any of you written a call, the stock goes down $3 or $4. You don't see that 75 cents per share target that we always talk about. And then I come into class and I say, and so people are like, there's no premium for me, Tyrone. I don't see any premiums whatsoever, right? And I don't know. That's how their voices say, no premium. I don't see it.
That's
and
the
I
powder
go,
voice.
right. And I go, could you go 4 weeks out and take the premium that looks like the dividend? And then people go, oh, that's like getting the dividend twice in a month. Sometimes we refer to that as marking those shares out there. Have some of you come to, accept that strategy that every once in a while you got to go out 6 weeks to take a premium that acts, or as we say, mimics the dividend? Rudy?
Absolutely. And I think that, especially, for instance, going through the last quarter of last year when the market was in a dip.
Yeah.
I thought you kept saying it was a wonderful opportunity, and I completely agreed because I'm sitting there with stocks trying to lower my cost basis, trying to simply just chip away and wait for the market to retrace. And there is nothing fun internally about taking a 25-cent bid, 35, 45, 55, that's 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. But the discipline and the patience and the eradication of greed that comes from that journey is so important. And then when I got on the other end 6 months later and I realized that not only is my cost basis down $10, but the stock has retraced 8.
Yes.
And now we're in such a level of pure profit.
Yes.
But you have to go through that. And I think oftentimes, more than we realize subconsciously, it is a little bit of greed. You want that dollar. You want the $1.50. You want the $1.75. You want the $2. And so you sit there and you go, I don't want that 65 cents. I don't want the 75 cents. I don't want 75 cents.
Damn you, 75 cents a share.
This isn't sexy.
Right.
But if you think about this, let's say it's 25 cents 2 weeks out, right? And if you do that twice, that's 50 cents in a month. That's $1 in 2 months.
Yes.
That's $2 in 3 months. I mean, it just exponentially grows. And then before you know it, your cost basis is down, or you have now made, $150, $200 on a stock that was just sitting there.
Yes.
But again, the attraction of the big bid will blind you. And I know that as a beginner trader, and I've seen this with a lot of beginner traders, you'll just let the stock sit there.
Yes.
And you'll wait. You'll now wait for a bid. Meanwhile, 6 weeks go by and you could have made $100.
There you go.
Right.
Per share, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
I try to think of it when I'm looking for a bid or waiting for a stock to retrace, and I'm looking out 3-4 weeks, and it's maybe 50 cents, which is less than the target is usually 70 cents, but sometimes you have to go a little lower depending on how much the stock has dropped. I think if I was walking down the street and I found $50 on the sidewalk, would I be happy?
Right.
I go, yeah.
Yes.
I'd pick it up.
Yes.
I'd put it in
If
my
you found
pocket.
$1 on
and
the
that
street,
would
you'd pick it up.
and that would make my day.
Right. Right.
So yes, go get that premium and wait. It just happened with Texas Instruments. it dropped, $10? And a lot of us own Texas Instruments right now and are selling covered calls. And so we just kept selling close to that strike price or that our cost basis, and it retraced. Now it's back up after like a month and a half.
Yeah, and
Back
I went
up.
through this whole thing where I had to explain to you guys that so many of these sell-offs sometimes are manufactured, right? Because institutions are using stop-loss orders, and you shouldn't go home and be afraid. Like, oh my God, why did the stock drop $7 on no news? Well, if everybody in the institutional community had a stop-loss order in, they're driving the price of the stock down to pick it up cheaper to ride the retracement back up. And that's part of the financial education that happens once you actually start trading.
You were asking about the advantages of coming to a live class, and it's that level of contextualization that is the perfect example. Because now that I've been trading for about a year, I have a completely different perspective than when I did the first 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 months, I experienced at the tail end of that the first giant pullback that the market has seen in a long, long time. And I had been used to a bid of $2 or more on some of these growth stocks that didn't pay a dividend, and all of a sudden the market pulled back dramatically. And so when you're able to go out 6 weeks and you're able to actually watch retracement in real time, and you're able to, follow the 7 to 10 stocks that you are interested in, and you watch how they grow and how they return, it's like you're starting out in a little cave with a miner's hat, and you can only see 4 feet in front of you. And then all of a sudden you open into a bank and it is a giant room that you can now see.
Yes.
And that, you just get more powerful. And so the longer you're doing this, the more comfort you have to say, any time that there is money that is more than zero, that is a good day.
Yes. And, I'm always having to talk about your wealth, your thinking, your perception, what's real. Because, I was doing a private session with someone and they said, I don't see any money, Tyrone. I don't see any money. And when we hung up the phone, that person made $5,000 the next day.
Wow.
And that money was sitting out there the whole time. So, I have my little cute thing. I'm like, are you okay with $5,000 tomorrow? They're like, I was just saying I didn't see it.
Right.
I didn't say it didn't exist, right? So our perception, even when we start trading, we still have to tune into, what I call a millionaire's mindset, which is, like you said, if you found $50 on the street, you wouldn't be
You'd
pissed.
Be
It
happy.
would be a free $50.
You'd be like,
right?
it's only $50. I'm not going to take it.
Now, you guys have done something extraordinary in your first year. You've all advanced to higher levels in the program where we talk about options trading and leverage, okay? So when you first learned, I'll start it off with Brian. When you first learned about Leap's options and how they functioned in a bull market, your visceral reaction was what?
I think I just sat back in my chair and, put my hands up and prayed and said, thank you. No, I think it's such a game changer when you realize the leverage that comes from owning shares while you're owning Leaps and watching that growth. You are just magnifying the momentum of your account. And to think that you can do that in 2 hours a month, 1 hour a month, 45 minutes a month, really is, it just kind of fires off all of the synapses because you start to realize what's possible that wasn't possible before.
Yes.
You're in a dark room and then you flick on the light and all of a sudden you realize everything that's been around you. So yeah, the power that comes from that level of education is also equally terrifying and overwhelming because the responsibility that comes with knowing that at the click of your fingertips, you can be making dramatic moves in your own life, also means that you need to set up for yourself structures and checklists, or at least I do, so that I am not constantly in activity, but I am in strategy.
Yes, because busy does not mean more profit.
And I've learned that, quickly in the hard way.
And that is very much a working class belief system, right? So if you grew up in a working class family and you're exchanging time for dollars, you're taught the busier you are, the more money comes in, more overtime, more this. And it's not that way in the stock market. Sometimes patience is the thing that makes you the most money. Rudy, your reaction to Leaps when you were first introduced?
So I do want to piggyback off that really quick. That you're absolutely right. And like when I first was trading here, I was trying to trade every day. in that middle class mentality. Well, if we're not trading, we're not making any money. And so I tried to figure out how to trade 5 days a week. And then through the advanced program, through the mentorship, learning that it like you said, I only trade 1 day a week now. And sometimes on Wednesdays, sometimes on Wednesdays. So Wednesdays are good. But most of the time it's on Mondays. And then, but Tuesday through Friday is strategy. I'm looking, I'm watching the market, I'm seeing, I'm thinking about things. And now, same as Brian, it's like now I'm looking ahead towards, well, this trade is actually, this is 12 months. This is a 12-month trade. Now I'm looking at the longevity of this. Where can we take this? And so same with leaps. I agree. They're so powerful. It was intimidating. And then to realize that's the next level the next battle that you have with yourself. As you move through these levels, you find out so much about yourself from a psychological level. And that's one thing I think we're never prepared for when we really join the class. You can tell us that your wealth is in your thinking all you want, but the battle happens in your head.
Yes, it does.
It's between you and yourself when you're in front of the computer. Yeah. And you don't really realize it until you start to go further, how much of a journey you have to take to really control and understand and be a caretaker of your wealth building and treat it with the responsibility and respect it deserves, because it's easy to get seduced by the money. And then with leaps, I think the hardest part about learning leaps is realizing that these are not covered calls. Mm-hmm. We don't just flip these. Correct. Because there's an instant gratification that comes to a covered call, right? It's 24 hours and boom, there it is. It's successful, and now we just wait for the contract to expire. But a leap doesn't work that way. And oftentimes, a leap isn't going to move the way you want it to at the speed you want it to. And it's the same, similar to as building a position, you have to learn patience. And you talk about this a lot in the mentorship program, that wealth building is not very sexy. Wealth building takes time.
Yes.
There's a lot of time. It's time, discipline, and it's very boring.
Yes, it is.
And leaps have a lot of that built into them. And people look at them and they go, oh man, I just want this thing to just jump. And sometimes they do.
And sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do. But that is not the day-to-day to a leap. You can get that gratification more from a covered call than you are going to get a leap. And learning how to approach them patiently,
yes,
with discipline.
They make an awful lot of money, but they take time to master. Lindsay, would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. Which is why I only recently placed my first leap, thanks to Rudy. He helped me out.
Okay.
But when I first heard about leaps, I was so confused. Coming from not knowing anything about the market at all, it was just totally fresh information, and it was this gigantic puzzle that I couldn't even find the right piece to start with, if you're looking at an analogy. But now the puzzle is all coming together. I'm like, okay, this is how this works. I'm getting it. The puzzle's together, and I set up my first leap. So it was exciting, but I
hope it was on a Dow stock like I taught.
It sure was.
Thank you so much.
And I'm just letting it sit, and then we'll see. And I think leaps, I'm feeling that they might fit with me, because I am very patient, and I am more of a long-term sight on things rather than the short-term instant gratification. So I think they're going to fit well with my soul.
Yeah, they fit well with your soul. They also fit well with your pocketbook if you'd like to be rich.
Right.
Just sit on a Delta 80 leaps for a $10 move in the stock.
Right.
You'll get the power of it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to talk about a strategy that I have been touting lately, which is the Delta 80. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Oh, yes.
With the Delta 50 chaser?
Yes.
Mixed with a bear call spread? Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to get into that because I want to see what I was watching Brian, one of the classes, and I was explaining leaps and conversions and delta progression, and he sat back in his chair like, oh no, you have got to be. So I want to get your reaction to some of your favorite advanced trades that you're learning about right after the audience takes a listen to this.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't know which stocks to choose for trading in today's market? No problem. Just follow Tyrone Jackson's hot stock picks inside WITradeschool.com. At WITradeschool.com, you can also follow Tyrone's weekly stock market tutorials and investing advice. Plus, each week you can submit your trading and investing questions directly to our staff, and Tyrone will answer them as part of our weekly video Q&A sessions. Begin your membership right now and you'll get instant access to WITradeschool.com's video library. That means you'll get to know all of Tyrone's major and minor trading strategies. including covered call writing and volatility trading for fast, sexy profits. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. In addition to a successful podcast, Tyrone's editorial content has been featured on CBSMoneyWatch.com, NASDAQ.com, and YahooFinance.com. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
And welcome back. Hey, listen, during the commercial break, we've been talking advanced options. We're like, hey, save that until we roll. For those of you who haven't started your membership at WITradeschool.com, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, but you really need to be in on the action. That is the next level of education rather than just listening to the show. So here's what I'd like for you to do once this episode is over. Sashay on over to WITradeschool.com, start your membership, and you can send me your questions each and every week. All right, let's get into some advanced stuff. Lately, because of the market conditions that we're in, I've exposed a system that makes a lot of money. I don't know how else to say it, so I won't candy coat it. And it happens to be trading Delta 80 leaps. Now, I'll give a little bit of the reasoning right now. The Delta 80 leaps option, obviously in the money, right? It's going to have at least $10 of intrinsic value. Therefore, for those of you who know the Greeks, you know that theta has almost little to no impact on that option. And then I layer that, because I started the last lesson we had together with like intention. Like instead of a quick flip, what if you were holding this as part of a wealth building system? And I introduced the Delta 50 leaps as the chaser. Does everybody remember why?
Oh, yeah.
Because it has more exponential growth to it on a $10 move because your Delta 80 flips into 100s. Does everybody remember that?
Yes.
So Brian, when I, because you've been trading stocks, when I just introduced just those two companion trades, your reaction was what?
I was pretty floored. First, when I learned about leaps in general, you teach it on the Delta 50 because it's easy to understand as it moves up.
Derivative math. Yeah.
Correct. So seeing the Delta 80, even just for what it is, as a stock surrogate so that you can own shares. In the program, we don't trade and invest in the same stock because you have to be in and out when you're selling covered calls. So you can build a position in one particular stock. You can also marry that with a leaps option. When you're marrying it with a Delta 80 leaps option, it is functioning as a fast-acting stock surrogate where you are, for a fraction of the cost, owning 100 shares essentially and holding on to that for a year or 18 months. So when you brought that in and also said to look at the Delta 80 and then marry that with the chaser, which is the Delta 50. So as the stock rises $4, $5, $6, $7, the conversion on the Delta 50 to a Delta 60, 70, 80. So you're making
massive.
80 cents for every dollar that it moves on 100 shares.
Yes.
It's a massive compounding bit of profit that you can make on a stock that's probably stable because we work in the Dow on stocks that are paying a dividend. So it's a very safe way of accelerating a process toward your wealth.
Right. Now, here's a tease because this I just love saying this. There's strategies above that. We're on our way to Maui. Some of us are not coming. But Brian's coming to Maui, right? And in this Maui, I'm going to show you even more than that. But I don't teach it live because it really... I mean, you really have to understand how millionaires and billionaires are made. So when we come back from Maui, you must come back if you're still able to eat solid foods and talk.
I don't know. I might be in a wealth coma.
Yeah, it's really, really tremendous. Rudy has really taken to the bear call spread.
Oh, man.
That thing really, and why is that?
So, first of all, the thing I love about the bear call spread, especially in a bear market, which we got out of, again, we kind of referencing the last quarter or the fourth quarter of last year, a bear call spread allows you to actually profit from stocks going down.
Yes.
And because you don't actually own the 100 shares, your account balance isn't affected.
Correct.
That was mind-blowing. I bear called spread my way for like 6 months all the way into this year. I mean, I was like, people were calling me the bear call spread guy in the mentorship class. You're like the bear call spread guy. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was just bear call spreading my through thing. And then when you showed us to pair that with a Delta 50 option, my mind exploded.
It's crazy.
I was
right?
crazy. We did it. I did it immediately. I was like, immediately. I was like, oh, that's done. I'm doing that immediately. Not even. Let's go right now. And then, without giving away too much, there's different ways you can set up the bear call spread between the first leg and the second leg.
Well, yes, yes.
I don't want to give too much.
No,
away.
because it's a little complicated.
It's a little complicated.
I mean, there's one stock I've been trading. I've used the first leg 3 times because the stock dropped. So I just kept closing, reselling. It's just been nuts. And when I was growing up, I was like, I knew there had to be a way to get rich, right? But there was no internet and all of that. And so I'm just more than happy to share that information and teach it in a way so that you guys can grasp it pretty quickly. Do you have an advanced, Lindsay, do you have an advanced trade that you like or that you're warming up to other than just covered call writing?
I'm warming up to leaps for sure,
Okay.
pretty easily. But the combination of things is fascinating to me. The combination of the bear call spread, with covered calls and leaps and, the whole thing, the whole web that you're teaching us is really fascinating. Again, I take the slow road and collect all the information. So I've placed a leap and I've placed a couple bear call spreads, but I'm still collecting, still seeing how it's all falling into place before I get too crazy with it. So I know you've got some listeners that are going to hear what Brian and Rudy just said. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go do it right now. Just, take your time, learn about it, make sure you're clicking the right buttons
Wear
and
your
not
swimmies
doing
first.
10 contracts or something. Start with one, like you teach us. Start with one so that you make sure that when you click a wrong button, because you will when you're learning, that you've only done that with one contract. So start slow and work your way. I'm working my way into more contracts.
I'm loving your poise and patience, and I hope I don't speak out of school. You just brought in a friend in the program.
I did.
Who's literally a rocket scientist.
She is.
And she understands derivative math.
Immediately.
Right. So I don't think you're going to be Miss Prim and Proper and I'll hold on. Because you have a rocket scientist backing up all the things that I'm teaching.
I do. She's getting it so fast.
Yeah, she is.
We were in the class and I was like, so did you? She's like, oh yeah. And what about this? I'm like, oh, you're asking questions. You do get it.
Yeah, she
You
does.
do get this. Yeah.
Where do you see this knowledge and this ability to trade and make money, whether stocks go up, go down, or stay the same? Where do you see this taking you and your family in, let's say, the next 2 to 5 years?
To Maui.
Yes, well, we
to
hope
Disneyland.
at least to Maui.
Is that what you mean? What are we going to spend the money on? No, I shared this last time. My son was like, are you going to go make money so we can go to Disneyland? I was like, yep, that's the plan. I appreciate the financial education that I'm getting. It's not something that I grew up with at all. And so it's just something that I can keep building upon and keep learning and keep collecting different trades into the arsenal of, how to play the stock market. Like you say, it's one game and 100 ways to play it. Yeah, I was like 100, one game and 100 ways to play it. So we're learning all of these different combinations of trades and it's great. It's going to keep growing and building, and so is my account, which is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rudy, the impact on your family has already started because you trade for your father.
I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you see this taking you in the next 2 to 5 years?
It's going to allow me to buy a home.
Okay.
And that's something that I didn't even think was possible. And my father is very successful. But that's my father's money.
Right.
And my father's a great man. He's the greatest man on the planet. But that's his money.
Right.
And the one thing he's always empowered us to do is he'll love and support us, but at the same time, he wants us to go and find and succeed at our own level. And one of the things that this program has allowed me to do, all the sacrifice, the financial and personal sacrifice, is that I can now be in charge of one of those retirement accounts, and the excitement of my father watching his account grow, and he's just like, he's blown away by this. And to have this, to me, it feels like a superpower. To get a financial education, to be in control of your finances. I was a guy that bartended for years. I'm a normal guy. Like, I'm not a fake person. Like a lot of people think, I'm a real person. Right. You can see me online. I exist. And to have the sense of power that a financial education gives you, it is so. The ramifications are go beyond just financial and into the psychological. You know, the calmness it brings, the confidence it brings in yourself, the ability to feel like not only do you have a plan, but it's being executed and you're seeing it grow week by week, day by day. That is so empowering. And I think there's so many people out there that are looking for something like that. And then you find this program and you're like, this is it. This is it. And then you go through it and you watch your account grow and you start to realize, like you said, it's like 2 to 5 years from now, there's a plan. There's a system in place. There's literally, it's a plan where I go, at this year, at this time, I will be here. And I mean, I go so far as to, I have a best friend of mine, we trade together, our accounts are almost in lock sync. We do our monthly check-ins. How do we do last month versus this month? And almost every month we're watching us beat the earning goal that we were trying to hit. And we're not even aggressively trying to, it's just happening naturally because of the discipline and way they're approaching it. And I think more so than even having the financial confidence and excitement of what that future can bring, there's the psychological calm and assuredness of knowing that you're going somewhere that's going to be great.
And you have a very supportive partner, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
My wife's amazing.
Yes.
She's like, hey, you do that trade thing. I love when you do that.
Yes.
Right.
And speaking of partners, now Brian's on his way to Maui to do this intensive with me. He's going to come back engaged. Because his lady friend's going to be like, I will marry you right now.
Depends what you do that first morning.
It's all in my head. Where do you see this taking you over the next 2 to 5 years? Hopefully a positive impact on your life, right?
Oh, certainly on my life. In addition, my parents are retired and they didn't retire with a lot of money. My sister, thankfully, is a doctor, and so she's bringing in some money, and so I've been sharing it with her. So I feel like our family's wealth is going to grow. But also I'm deeply involved in kind of the arts community here in Los Angeles. And one of my big dreams as I see this continuing to grow is to be able to actually get to a place where I can run almost a hedge fund for the local theater community, where some of the money that gets raised every year we're able to, put into a fund and then grow it and grow it and grow it so that there's always a sustainable growing income for all of these small theaters that at any given time could go belly up. So that's one of the kind of dreams I have. But yeah, personally, it's such a game changer. And, to Rudy's point, I do think when you begin to take the steps of a financial education, you really do, for at least in my experience, for the first time, start to feel like a grown-up. There is a part of you that settles. There's a part of you that realizes that there are so many ways you can avoid a financial education. You can avoid talking about money, thinking about money. And it is taboo. It's not like you can just walk out in the streets and go, everybody, let's go write covered calls in the stock market, because right. People will have resistance and they will come against their own experiences. But when you start to take those steps for yourself, you do settle. And so the impact on my life and my friends' lives and, obviously my girlfriend's life, it's just, it's a paradigm shift.
And I love that you mentioned that about the theater, because one of the things I always say, if I help you make money, the only thing I ever ask is that you go out and help someone else. That's all I want in return, because that's the positive energy that makes the world a better place, as corny as it sounds. Right?
I've always been the kind of person that if I take one step on the ladder, I'm constantly reaching back and saying, come up with me.
Yes.
And what's interesting is that you find the more steps you ascend, the fewer people want to come with you. And that's just a part of life. Everyone's on a different journey, but I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly turning back and saying, look what I've learned. Let me teach you. Let me share that with you. So yeah, I'm hoping to be able to do that, especially in a community that doesn't necessarily have a wealth consciousness.
Yes, the artist community is a lot of resistance to
Correct.
Evil, wealthy people, but you will take their money if you could put on the show, which is the weird part, right? Hey, listen, if I haven't said it enough publicly, I want to thank each one of you personally for coming in, sharing your experience on the show, and also just being in class, because the sun shines a lot in California, and who wants to come in and practice derivative trades on a Saturday and Sunday? But you're all there. That music is telling me I have just a little bit of time left. Lindsay, there's someone out there going, maybe Lindsay could do it, but I can't. You say what to that person?
You can do it too.
They can do it too?
If I didn't know what the Tao was, you can do it.
You can do it. Rudy, we got to get out of here, but there's someone saying, well, maybe that guy Rudy could do it, but I can't. You say to them what?
It takes a little bit of time, once a week, and a little bit of discipline and just a shed of hope and confidence that you could be successful. And if you have that, you can do it.
Perfect. Bryant, your advice?
Commit yourself to 15 minutes a day on anything, and you'll be a genius in 2 to 3 years.
Wow, I like that. And then finally, Rudy has a podcast. Tell us about your podcast. Is it the Gold Coast?
It's the Gold Cast.
Gold Cast.
Yes, it is a San Francisco sports-centric podcast. The evil Golden State Warriors, the evil San Francisco Giants, the evil 49ers. You know those teams that have won a lot of championships?
Yes.
All those guys.
Well, thank you, because I'll be tuning in, and we may hear that show in some very interesting places soon.
That's right.
Another story for another time.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. This is Tyrone Jackson, a wealthy investor, saying, hey, your wealth is in your thinking, but you must be willing to get a financial education to change your life. That's it. I'll see you right back here next time on Trading Stocks Made Easy.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.